This month, we started off with hanging our Black Lives Matter banner, and I've done a series of sermons on environmental justice, the earth, the air, and today the water. And with the water and environmental racism, there is no greater symbol of that than the city of Flint, Michigan, where the state government took over and changed the water system and then did not provide the necessary regulations to keep the new water from rotting the pipes. Democracy was stolen and the water was ruined. I would love to stand before you today and say that Flint is an isolated incident. But Allison Young and Mark Nichols wrote in USA Today this past March, while the harsh national spotlight focuses on the drinking water crisis in Flint, the USA Today network investigation has identified almost 2,000 additional water systems where all 50 states where testing has shown excessive levels of lead contamination over the past 4 years. The water systems which reported lead levels exceeding EPA standards collectively supply water to 6 million people. The states that lead in water contamination are Texas and Pennsylvania, with 183 and 157 reports of elevated lead in the water. Michigan, in contrast, had 42, in addition to the one big one in Flint. Indiana had 49 water systems that had excessive lead. Water is a human right, and the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee has an environmental justice program which promotes and defends the human right to water. The human right to water entitles everyone to safe, sufficient, accessible, and affordable water for personal and domestic use. Yet almost 750 million people around the world lack clean drinking water. And in the United States, the affordability has grown as a national concern. The rates have risen for water 41% since 2010. U.S. household is being charged between 5% and 20% of its household monthly income for water. And this is a violation of international standards set by the UN, which suggests that water and water facilities and services should not exceed 3% of a household income. And a lot of this stems from privatization. Instead of democratically controlled government water supplies, they are often outsourced to private companies who need to get profit off the water to satisfy their shareholders. In the state of Michigan, for example, 53% of the African Americans live in cities under emergency management. That's where the government strips democracy from the city council, where rights to water and sanitation are violated, compared to only 3% of the white population in Michigan. So it's both local and it's global. And one of the things that is being done as a stopgap in Flint is sending bottled water to Flint. And they've been People have been quick to do that, but the government has been slow to change and fix the problem that caused the water to be tainted in the first place. But bottled water can't be a solution, because bottled water itself is not good for the environment. Kristen Dallimore and Eliza Barclay wrote in National Geographic, "Bottled water is a drain on the environment. The U.S. public goes through about 50 billion water bottles a year, and most of the plastic containers are not recycled. Transporting the bottles and keeping them cold also burns fossil fuels, which give off greenhouse gases, and groundwater pumping by bottled water companies draws heavily on aquifers and harms watersheds, according to the Sierra Club, an environmental nonprofit. And also, the water companies that pump the water usually get the water at a lower rate than a household in the same neighborhood, so that they can make a profit when they turn around and sell it to people who should be getting clean water for free or low cost. Bottled water companies gain those high profits. They put it in plastic containers and resell it at 2,900 times the price of tap water. Water. It's the building block of life on earth. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is immersed in water. Life evolved in water. And then even as it crawled onto the land, life always returns to water. It sustains us all physically. And then as humans, we engage in it spiritually. The Blue Moon Rising Choir sang about the water rolling, the Native American tune about bone and feather and eagle and salmon, and the sense of water that permeates all life, and that it lives inside us. All the creatures and all the rivers of the world are in our soul. Hindus wash themselves in the Ganges River. The Christian tradition of being baptized in the River Jordan. And even a Viking ship sent burning out on the sea as a funeral. All are rituals which liberate one from ordinary life, brings renewal, either physical or spiritual. And then there is this pursuit of happiness, to surf the waves of Waikiki, or to sit in a steamy sauna, or to skate on frozen water. All ways that humans pursue their happiness on the water. Water is needed for surviving, reviving, and thriving. Water that is owned and sold requires it to be contained. But water wants to flow. It needs to be shared. It rolls down the mountain to the sea, then evaporates and flies to the sky, until the sky can no longer contain it, then it falls as rain. Here in West Lafayette, we are shaped by the flow of water. The erosion of Happy Hollow and the flooding of the Wabash, and even the construction. If anybody has tried to go through the intersection at State Street and River Road, you've noticed that it's blocked, and all the detours are also blocked as well, it seems. What the city is doing is increasing the volume of our combined sewer overflow system. A CSO occurs when the sewer system that collects both water runoff and sanitary sewage in the same pipe overflows due to volume that exceeds capacity, and this excess wastewater is discharged into the Wabash. So I know sometimes on my way to work, one of my favorite things to do is go to Mesquiten Landing and take pictures of the sunrise coming up over the Wabash. But I always have to stand just so I don't catch the sign that says, "Warning, do not swim in this river. It may contain human waste." So what the city is doing with federal funds is creating more capacity underground for our water to go, so it goes to the water treatment plant rather than into the Wabash River. Now, this is being done to comply with an Environmental Protection Agency standard. And there are several politicians running for Congress and for Senate and for President that want to destroy the Environmental Protection Agency. They say that regulation hurts business. And think of all this tax money that is being spent. And I'm saying if ever tax money needs to be collected and spent, it's to protect our water. Water is one of our most basic resources. But the Clean Water Act exempts water used in fracking, and the oil and gas companies do not have to report the chemicals they put in the ground, and this water often leaks into the aquifer. We stopped the expansion of the Keystone Pipeline, but the Keystone Pipeline still exists. And a leak was discovered on April 2nd and forced the key section of the pipeline to be shut down. TransCanada, the owners of the pipeline, initially told regulators the spill totaled about 187 gallons. Now, you could fit 187 gallons of milk on the altar. You can envision that. It might take up the whole aisle. Oh, but when they checked out how big the spill actually was, it was 16,800 gallons. Now imagine all those gallons. They would fill out this whole sanctuary. There's been a bipartisan short-sightedness that sells our future for the sake of short-term profits. But we as citizens must find ways to control our water. For if we cannot control our water, we cannot control our lives. The person that is officially defined as a corporation doesn't need water to survive because it's not really a person. It is a legal fiction that has been pushed upon the people. But the people are human, and we need water. Polluters must pay for cleanup and be prevented from polluting in the first place. But the reason these companies can make such profits is because we ourselves buy what they are selling from the bottled water to the natural gas that is extracted from fracking, from the oil in our cars. So all of this that we do is part of the problem. We can't just say it's the corporations, it's also us. In your order of service, there should be a blue piece of paper. This is a letter that's from our minister up in Flint, Michigan, Dina Olivier. And she has it on their website. And it talks about what we might do for Flint if we as a congregation would want to go up and bring some water there, or if we want to donate money. But one of the things that's also important is that we also need to be testing our own water. She writes, please spread the word. Test the water in your area. And it's amazing. This area actually has a good testing system. Our church has participated in this on occasion. The Wabash River EC Enhancement Corporation, RREC, does a testing in the spring and in the fall. And then there are other things that are sponsored. I know Ray Schnapp, as our river keeper, has helped organize us to have a team for the De-Trash the Wabash events that happen periodically. Our water is precious. And we need to think of how we're going to use it. And so I give you these lists of things that we could do to help Flint, who has a particular need at this time. But also I ask us to continue to look to where we can intervene and help locally. May we bless and be blessed.